The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. Handsome, like your father.
The spooky makeup of 1965 couldn't hide the heartbreaking tragedies behind the Munsters. 62 years later, the show lights went dark, exposing the complete fall of an icon. Death knocked on every door, an iconic legend taken down by agonizing cancer. Others trapped in isolation and severe illness, forgotten by Hollywood in their final days. Who suffered the most bitter end? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Frederick Hubbard Gwynne, born July 10, 1926 in New York, was a talented 6'5" actor, a Harvard graduate who once dreamed of performing Shakespeare on stage. In 1964, at age 38, he played Herman Munster in The Munsters, a giant monster with a frightening appearance, but a gentle and innocent personality. But what awaited him was 50 pounds of foam rubber and a bolt through his neck. His massive build made him the only choice for Herman Munster, to the point that the pilot seemed written specifically for him. Each day of filming meant 3 hours of makeup and losing up to 10 pounds from sweating. Although he described the costume as exhausting and bruising, he completed all 68 episodes without complaint. After the show, the enormous shadow of the character nearly buried his career. Typecasting made directors see only the monster's bulging forehead instead of a Harvard-trained talent. After 2 divorces and 5 children, he quietly wrote wonderful children's books, something no one expected from a sitcom monster. In 1992, My Cousin Vinny finally freed him. His role as Judge Chamberlain Haller required no heavy makeup, revealing a sharp actor and proving the talent he had always possessed. But he did not have much time. Pancreatic cancer took Fred Gwynne on July 2, 1993. He died at age 66, less than a year after the success of My Cousin Vinny. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at around $2 million. Do you think the Munsters made Fred Gwynne a legend? Or actually ruined the career of an actor far more talented than Herman Munster? Pick a side and leave your thoughts in the comments. Margaret Yvonne Middleton, born September 1, 1922, in Vancouver, was once one of Hollywood's most glamorous beauties. In 1964, at age 42, she played Lily Munster in The Munsters, the elegant vampire wife with her signature white streak and the way she looked at Herman as if he were the most attractive man in the world. Before becoming Lily, Yvonne was already a true star. In the 1950s, she appeared alongside Charlton Heston in The 10 Commandments and had one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces. But behind the glamour, her life was entering its most difficult period. Yvonne married stuntman Bob Morgan in 1955. 6 years later, a horrific accident during a train scene cost Bob one leg. Medical bills and debts quickly piled up, while acting offers for Yvonne became increasingly scarce. So when Universal offered her the role of Lily Munster, Yvonne accepted not just for artistic reasons. She needed the job to pay the bills and help her family survive the crisis. Ironically, the role she took because of financial pressure became one of the most famous characters of her career. After the Munsters, Yvonne's marriage also gradually fell apart. She divorced in 1973, largely raised her 2 sons on her own, continued performing on Broadway, wrote an autobiography, and took smaller roles for many years afterward. Yvonne DiCarlo died on January 8, 2007, at age 84 from heart failure. A role she once accepted to save her family ultimately became the image generations of viewers remembered her for. Al Lewis, born Abraham Meister on April 30, 1923, in New York. In 1964, at age 41, he played Grandpa in The Munsters, the 136-year-old Count Dracula who lived in the basement, spending his days on bizarre experiments, explosions, and unreliable advice. If Herman was the heart of the family, Grandpa was its endless source of chaos. Before The Munsters, Al had lived a colorful life, from political activism and basketball scouting to vaudeville acting. He had also worked with Fred Gwynne on Car 54, Where Are You?, So when they reunited on the Munsters, their chemistry was already there. Off-screen, they became close friends and genuinely enjoyed making each other laugh. Unlike Fred Gwynne, Al never wanted to escape the shadow of his character. He loved the cape and makeup and continued appearing as Grandpa at fan events for years. After the Munsters, his life became even more surprising. Al opened the Italian restaurant Grandpa's Bella Gente in Greenwich Village, hosted a late-night radio show on WBAI, and remained politically active. In 1998, he ran for governor of New York as the Green Party candidate. Grandpa Munster had literally stepped out of the basement and into politics. Al married twice and had 3 sons. He died on February 3, 2006, at age 82. Instead of running from the character that made him famous, Al Lewis embraced Grandpa until the end. A grandfather who looked 136 but always had the spirit of a mischievous child. Patricia Ann Priest, born on August 15, 1936, in Bountiful, Utah, was only 28 when she took over the role of Marilyn Munster after Beverly Owen left. She quickly fit into the Munsters and became the Marilyn familiar to audiences for most of the rest of the series. Pat played Marilyn with sweetness instead of trying to create laughs. The irony of a beautiful girl always being pitied by her family for her appearance made the character special. Behind the scenes, she faced pressure to maintain her figure because she was the only beauty in the Munster family. Yvonne DiCarlo became her mentor, while Butch Patrick became a friend she remained close to for decades. After the Munsters, Pat appeared in Bewitched, Perry Mason, and several other shows before leaving Hollywood, moving into real estate, and choosing a peaceful life in Idaho. But her greatest challenge came many years after the spotlight. In 2001, Pat was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Instead of giving in to the disease, she underwent treatment and eventually entered long-term remission. By 2026, Pat Priest is 90 years old and still alive. She remains in contact with Butch Patrick and has appeared at fan events over the years. 6 decades after the Munsters and more than 2 decades after her battle with cancer, the second Marilyn remains one of the few members of the Munster family still alive today. Harvey Herschel Korman, born on February 15, 1927, in Chicago, spent more than a decade trying to find his place in the entertainment industry. He was 37 when he first appeared in The Munsters, in guest roles such as Lenny Bates and Professor Fagin Span. These small roles came just before his career entered a completely different chapter. Before becoming famous, Harvey worked as a waiter, sold cars, and even stood outside a movie theater in uniform while watching other stars' names shine on the marquee. He once formed a comedy act with a friend but was fired on their first night. His real breakthrough came in 1967 with The Carol Burnett Show. For a decade, Harvey became one of television's finest supporting comedians, winning 4 Emmys and a Golden Globe. Later, his role as Hedley Lamar in Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles took his fame to another level. But not every success lasted. His own comedy series, The Harvey Korman Show, quickly failed and was canceled after only a few episodes. In his personal life, Harvey went through 1 divorce before finding a lasting second marriage. He had 4 children. In January 2008, Harvey suffered a ruptured aortic aneurysm and underwent months of treatment and several surgeries. He died on May 29, 2008, at age 81 from related complications. Some sources estimated his net worth at around $25 million at the time of his death. He may rarely have been the biggest name, but he became the man who made the stars beside him shine brighter. Jane Withers, born April 12, 1926, in Atlanta, entered entertainment at age 3 through local radio. At 6, her mother took her to Hollywood to make her a star, and she succeeded. In the 1930s, Jane became one of America's most famous child actresses, making 3 to 5 films a year and earning about $2,500 a week during the Great Depression. After years at the top, Jane left acting at 21 to marry and start a family. But Giant in 1956 brought her back to Hollywood and opened a second chapter in her career. In 1964, at age 38, Jane first appeared in The Munsters, later playing 2 different characters, Fanny Pike and Pamela Thornton. Unlike many guest stars looking for opportunities, Jane had already lived 3 lives: child star, mother, and returning actress. Her lasting fame did not come only from movies. Starting in 1963, Jane became Josephine the Plumber in famous Comet commercials. She used the income to help put her 5 children through college. When her mother developed a brain tumor, Jane put much of her work aside to care for her for about 8 years. Jane married twice and had 5 children. He died on August 7, 2021, at age 95 in Burbank, surrounded by family. The girl Hollywood made a star before she grew up, ultimately spent much of her life as a mother and caregiver who put family before fame. Paul Edward Lind, born June 13, 1926, in Mount Vernon, Ohio, was the 5th of 6 children. His youth was marked by loss when his brother Corydon died in World War II. In the following years, Paul lost both parents while still in his 20s. He hid that pain behind laughter, made his way to Broadway, and gained attention with Bye Bye Birdie. In 1964, at age 38, Paul appeared in The Munsters as Dr. Edward Dudley. He appeared 3 times, playing a doctor constantly confused by the Munster family with the sharp, sarcastic style that became his trademark. Later, Hollywood squares made Paul one of America's most famous comedians. From the center square, he made audiences laugh with quick, biting answers. But his real life was far more complicated. Paul was gay during a time when Hollywood was deeply prejudiced, forcing him to keep much of his private life secret while becoming increasingly dependent on alcohol. In 1965, a young man with Paul died after falling from a high hotel window during a night of drinking. The death was ruled an accident, but it became one of the darkest memories of his life. Alcohol continued to affect his relationships and career until Paul stopped drinking around 1980. He never married and had no children. On January 10, 1982, Paul was found dead alone at his Beverly Hills home from a heart attack at only 55. His net worth was estimated at around $7 million. The man who once made America laugh carried pain that most audiences never saw. Richard Louis Deacon, born May 14, 1922, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, served in the U.S. military before studying and turning to acting. In 1964, at age 42, he appeared in The Munsters as Borden T. Pike, an official who came to the Munster home over plans to run a pipeline beneath the house, only to face Herman, Grandpa, and a series of bizarre situations. Richard appeared in only 1 episode, but he was already a familiar face on American television. With his tall build, bald head, and authoritative voice, he often played stern, difficult, or arrogant characters, whose seriousness itself created the comedy. Audiences especially remember Richard as Fred Rutherford in Leave It to Beaver, and Mel Cooley in The Dick Van Dyke Show. He also appeared in The Twilight Zone, The Addams Family, The Birds, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. His career lasted more than 3 decades with over 180 film and television roles. Outside acting, Richard had a passion for food. He was an experienced cook, wrote several cookbooks, and even hosted a show about microwave cooking. Richard Deacon never married and had no children. On August 8, 1984, he suddenly died in Los Angeles from a heart attack at age 62. From a small guest role in The Munsters to hundreds of screen appearances, He became one of those supporting actors audiences could instantly recognize, even if they could not always remember his name. Butch Patrick, born Patrick Allen Lilly on August 2, 1953, in Inglewood, California, was only 11 when he played Eddie Munster in The Munsters. With his pointed hair, pointed ears, and werewolf appearance, Eddie was a strange but innocent child who only wanted to live like a normal boy. Butch got the role almost by chance after his sister signed with a modeling agency. An audition opportunity came up, and he beat hundreds of other children to become Eddie. The set remains a happy memory for Butch, especially his close friendship with Pat Priest that lasted for decades. But after The Munsters, his life took a dark turn. As acting work became scarce in the 1970s, Butch fell into years of alcohol and drug addiction. In 2010, he decided to get sober and began rebuilding his life. He later faced prostate cancer, but received treatment. Butch married Layla Murray in 2016, but the marriage did not last, and he has no children. Instead of running from his past, he made Eddie Munster part of his life, appearing at fan conventions, signing autographs, and selling products related to the Munsters. By 2026, Butch Patrick is 73 and still alive, continuing to appear before fans. His net worth is estimated by various sources at between $250,000 and $2 million, with much of his later life tied to appearances and the legacy of the Munsters. After addiction, cancer, and personal ups and downs, the young werewolf is still keeping Eddie Munster alive more than 60 years later. From one of America's most beloved child stars to years of alcohol and drug addiction, do you think Butch Patrick was a victim of Hollywood fame, or was fame simply an easy excuse to justify those years of decline? Joan Marshall, born Joan Schrepferman on June 6, 1931, in Chicago, Illinois, worked in entertainment from a young age. In 1964, at age 32, she was cast as Phoebe Munster in the original pilot of The Munsters, the early version of the character who later became Lily Munster. Joan appeared with Fred Gwynne, Al Lewis, and Beverly Owen in the color pilot made to present the show to the network. But when The Munsters officially went into production, she was replaced by Yvonne DiCarlo, and Phoebe became Lily Munster. One commonly cited reason was that Joan's Phoebe looked too similar to Morticia Addams from the Addams Family. Leaving the Munster house did not end Joan's career. She later appeared in The Twilight Zone, Gunsmoke, Bonanza, and especially Star Trek as Lieutenant Ariel Shaw. She had also gained attention in the 1961 horror film Homicidal. Joan's personal life included several marriages and 2 children. One of her best-known husbands was director Hal Ashby, who later made films such as Harold and Maude and Coming Home. Joan gradually left acting during the 1970s. In her later years, she had a home in Jamaica, a place she especially loved. Joan Marshall died in Montego Bay on June 28, 1992, from lung cancer, just weeks after her 61st birthday. She existed in The Munsters only through an unaired pilot, but still holds a special place as the first woman to stand beside Herman Munster as his wife. "62 years have passed, and time has finally done what no monster in The Munsters could do, make almost the entire family from those days slowly disappear. But as long as we still remember them, Herman, Lily, Grandpa, Eddie, and Marilyn have never truly left the screen. Hey, thank you for staying with us until the very last seconds. If The Munsters ever made you laugh, was part of your childhood, or simply reminds you of a television era you will never forget, Leave the name of the character you remember most below. I truly want to know how many people still remember this strange family after more than 6 decades. And if you want to keep seeing stars who seem to have been forgotten by time, hit like and subscribe right now. Every subscription gives us another reason to keep bringing the Hollywood legends of the past back one more time.